Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's me, Striker.
It's me, Luba. Hello.
So we have a, actually, should we just wait? We'll wait a bit just to see if we get some guys coming into the room here. See, I think it's live. It says 10 minutes. I don't know what that means.
No, it is live. I can see some.
Ah, yeah, sweet. Okay, well, should we wait? Do you want to wait, or do you want to? Actually, Luba, why don't you tell us a little bit about what's going on with the COVID-19?
So unfortunately, every day we get more and more cases, and I don't know is it because we got some tests that people can check out themselves or what, but it's it used to be like 150 a day, and now it's about 308 a day. At least since last 24 hours. So total in Ukraine right now, it's 2,511 cases, 73 people died and 79 recovered. And just till last 24 hours in Mykolaiv, they find 2 cases. So before Mykolaiv had none. And so it is about that. There is some kind of like positive news, but I don't, again, like they're not official. We can't say that there's any proof from the government about that, but approximately they trying to keep it very strict till May. So people should wear masks, can't go like anywhere, can't visit parks, can't visit any public places. Start from May, they will start letting people to use public transportation, but still with some restriction. And from June, July, transportation will fully operate. They will have not such a strict rules for the self-isolation, and people who are 60 plus, right now they're not allowed to go to the street, but they will be able to. No information about opening the borders yet, no information about any flights. So we are just waiting for that.
Sweet, okay. G'day, Rodney, Kyle, Cougs. Rodney, best wishes from Blackpool. I was actually in Blackpool a little while, maybe a few months ago, up the Blackpool Tower. Okay, so today we have kind of like a little bit of a different video, I suppose. I mean, for the last 2 years, you guys have heard about my experiences. But what we thought would be interesting today is to have 2 other guests on, Darren and Ian. Thanks, guys, for joining us. I really appreciate it. I know it's very hard to actually find guys that actually do want to talk about their experiences with us, you know, because sometimes they're not always the best experiences, but they are the experiences that we can actually learn from. So appreciate that. So Ian, Darren, so you guys went on a romance tour, and you guys actually went on the same romance tour that I went on as well. Ian, you go first. What made you go on the romance tour? What was the driver for that decision?
Yeah, well, it was slightly different for me, Striker, because of course I was already working and partly living in Ukraine when I decided to go on a romance tour. You know, it was I've been working in Kharkov, Kiev, sometimes in Odessa, and the reason I chose that was because obviously I got to be sort of adopted by some Ukrainian families because I was working with them, which is always very nice and compliment to Luba's culture. But you get well looked after, and obviously you get a chance to meet ladies. But a number of them, practically all of them, really don't want to leave Ukraine, you know. And the reason I went on a romance tour was purely that obviously ladies had already taken that decision that they wanted to, they were open to meeting a guy from a foreign country. They'd already gone through that thought process. And hopefully have gone through some sort of checking to say, yes, this is the route that we want to go.
Yeah, I can relate to that. That's kind of the reason why you do it. I mean, you're kind of starting at, I call it starting at zero. So if you just came over to Ukraine and like you just tried to date women just randomly all over the place, you got no idea if they've already thought about moving to the country. So I say you start from a negative. At least if you go somewhere like that, you know, you can start at a zero and work your way up, and you know, you're actually starting from a certain point. Darren, what about you? What made you sort of decide to go on a romance tour?
Well, for me, I went through a divorce and I tried the online dating in Canada here, and it was nothing but just a mess. I met some crazy ladies, some interesting stories. I probably saw a video about Ukrainian.
Say no more.
Yeah, I could tell a few good stories, but let's leave that out for right now.
Yeah.
So I guess
after the watershed, please, Darren.
Right. I did see a video about Ukrainian ladies. I have Ukrainian roots in Ukraine. So part of the thing was I wanted to go back to Ukraine, or I never was there, and see what it was about, just to experience it. I was too scared to do it on my own. I watched a few videos and picked, I thought was the best company to go with, and decided to do that. And that's how I sort of got into it.
So, and you guys met on the same tour. We won't say the name of any companies like that here. That way we can talk about it. Because you guys met on the same tour, and that's one thing that I've often talked about is it is a benefit for these tours. You do actually meet other guys on there, and you become good friends. You know, and it's because you it's hard to find someone with that same common interest. You know, you tell your friends back home, and they either think you're mad or they just think it's not going to work or something like that. So I mean, that is a bonus when it comes to those tours. So the topic of the video is what you didn't know when you first started, but you basically, how should I phrase this? What you learned along the way that you wish you knew at the start. And then speaking from my own experience, what I learned throughout, like nobody taught me from the start. You know, the videos that you see and the videos that you guys would have seen as well are always of a guy who's just found the love of his life and he's going to get married next week or something like that. And they're all to sell it on you, but there's no one that's really telling you exactly how it is and what you should watch out for and things that may put some guys off actually going over to Ukraine. You know, some guys may decide it's not for them, but I think it's information that needs to be said. Ian, what do you reckon?
Yeah, well, I think it's a very good point what you say, Striker. I mean, we've all seen it, haven't we? You know, how many videos have we seen that have been posted by umpteen different companies that, show these wonderful tours and, at the end you have these people, these couples. And I've often wondered, are they still together? I mean, obviously some are, but how many of them are still together in 3, 6, 9, in a couple of years' time? It's always a very, very interesting sort of topic. As I said at the beginning, my thoughts are in terms of what I knew at the beginning was, that not all Ukrainian ladies are happy to actually move abroad. And that's a fact. You have to understand that okay. Yeah. And well, I mean, it is a different culture. It is a different way of life. It is very family orientated, and of course, everybody within the Ukrainian family has their part to play. And so for me, what was the major thing for me was that met all these lovely ladies through wives of friends and girlfriends and what have you, and so many of them, when you were talking with them, they had no intention of ever moving outside Ukraine because their families were there. Was it the same for you, Darren? Did you find that, or
similar? You watch the videos and it looks easier than it really is. I thought, these women were desperate to get out. I thought if you had a good occupation, you come there, you basically meet the woman of your dreams, give her a ring, and she's coming back with you. It's not that simple. I've learned that it's a process, like in North America. It takes more time to find that lady. But like Ian said, they are very home oriented and really nice ladies. It's almost, I hate to say it, but it's a bit of a drug. The women, they just you just become so attached to them. It's hard to describe that feeling that you want to find one, and you want to keep trying if you don't, once you've come there and met them.
It's and this happened with me, and most likely with you guys as well. I know so many other guys that did as well. Is that even if it doesn't work out, you go back home and you're just not interested in dating, and you're just thinking like there's so much that, there's this, you found like this other pot of gold that you need to go back and see if you can get some more of it. And that's but there are some guys that go over there and they fail. I don't really like using the word fail, but they don't get what they thought was going to be easily attainable based on what they had heard, and then they give up, you know. And I think that this is the danger. We actually did a video about socials and how they can create this unreal expectation and then just absolutely just destroy the guy's soul. He goes home and he thinks, oh, that's all fake. But it was just that it was only sold to him for that company to get money now. It wasn't really, do you sort of understand what I mean? Like they just wanted the money, they didn't care what happens afterwards. Whereas like if he took a different path, did things a little bit differently, and went maybe to a different company as well, he may have come back again or maybe again and again. Because I mean, as we know, I mean, it rarely ever happens on the first trip. Like rare, it's so rare that it happens on the first trip. You know, it's just the chances of going over for 7 days and finding a woman, not only a woman that wants to be with you for the long term, but that you connect on all these other levels, that you have the same goals, the same values, and all these sorts of things. For the agencies to market like, you know, you're going to meet 5 ladies and one of them is the perfect lady for you. It's ridiculous, you know. It just creates so many dramas with the guys that are going over there. It wastes so much money too, which is just another thing.
But the good point here to say that, because we will try to make it like in some points, and the good point to say is that women in Ukraine are not desperate and not in a rush to leave the country. They don't want to just get married to the Western guy, and they're not just looking for US or any other kind of citizenship. So some companies say that it is true, and unfortunately a lot of guys with whom I've been working, they sometimes they were saying like, why she's not going to my room, why she's not doing that, I bought her dinner, I bought her that. So I mean, just anybody who really think that Ukraine is about that, like they got really burned when they come here, especially in winter, and see all these girls in like these fur coats and with all the stuff. So it's not true. So guys, if you think that Ukraine is the third world country, then it's a mistake. It's first, and second is that you need to think about your family. You need to know and learn about your family condition to understand if she will be really willing to relocate with you or whatever. So it's important to understand her intentions from the beginning. Is she coming to the tour, to the party, just to have fun? And like she like you, so she communicate with you because you're a fun guy and it's cool for her to hang out with you, but you have much more serious intention than her about all that process. So this is what guys need to pay attention at.
I think Luba makes a really, really good point. What she's actually brought out there is a number of sort of interesting topics. And one of those is the importance of your translator. I mean, I travel the world and I have translators in different countries, but obviously with Ukraine, and when you're meeting ladies, the importance of having a good translator who's not just there to just translate. They are effectively my partner, my Ukrainian partner is a translator like Luba, who've done many, many tours. You can't take away that experience that Luba and her have got in form of actually being effective like a bodyguard for you, because they see the red flags before you do. You go on a date, you think, oh, this girl's wonderful, and then you come away from it, and probably Luba has done it on many, many occasions, said to the guy, this isn't right, this doesn't quite stand up. So the importance of getting a very, very good translator who understands the culture, and actually brief the guy before the guy even comes to Ukraine, to have that education beforehand would be invaluable to so many guys. I mean, I was blessed because I had this briefing through the family ties, but so many guys, I think we found this, Darren, on our tour, didn't we? Really didn't have the background. And of course, the translators are there normally to translate, but there's so much more to it. Would you agree with that, Luba? Do you think there's a lot more to it when you come to do the tours with your client?
Yes, we were talking with Striker about that, and there's a lot of guys who were calling and saying that, your service costs more than I can find an interpreter for $5-6, and it would be fine. And like these guys, they don't understand the point. The job of the matchmaker, of interpreter, of the wing woman, however you want to call it, it's much more different than just a translation. It's actually interpretation, because like there are going to be so much confusion and like so much misunderstanding and conflicts in case of like misunderstanding each other, and like mentality and the cultural differences. So of course, like if you are looking for, like there is a guy Henry, I will just quickly come back to one of the comments. I know who is it. Hello, Henry. Thank you for watching. So he's saying that, and maybe you will give an advice on that as well. So he's saying that a lot of guys are looking for tours because they don't want to do it alone. And I agree with that. Ukraine is a very different country, and you need to know somebody very reliable to actually be brave enough to travel to our country by yourself. That is why, like, we're not going to talk about this right now, but that is why we created our idea. Like, we thought that, we want to help these guys who are scared to come by themselves. But definitely you have to be informed, and you have to have very safe contacts on your site and very professional contact. If you really have intention on finding a serious relationship, if you're just coming to look around, if you're looking just for the Kyiv tour and having some fun, then of course you can hire anybody. But if you're seriously looking, you have to take it seriously and use it as a very solid plan of coming to Ukraine. You have to be prepared for that.
Yeah, we don't say that not to do one thing or not to do another. It just depends on who you are. Like, for instance, Henry there, if he really wants to be around a group of guys, then that might work well for him. He just has to know if it's going to be an effective way of actually doing this, because I guess it's like a scale. You got to see what parts are important to you and sort of try and find something in the middle that's going to work for you. And that's something that we do. I just actually want to go back to something that Luba was saying before about how she's a translator and she has to do, look at all many different things. One thing also that she does as well, and this is what any other normal translator wouldn't be able to do, is that Luba can look at her and look at the story she's saying. She's saying that she doesn't have any money, or all of a sudden she's got like the latest iPhone. Luba's looking at her shoes. So she's looking at the whole picture of this lady here, and a translator would just translate and just sit there and not say that. So I just wanted to say that, because there are guys that say, well, you can get translators from students from the university for $4. It's like, yeah, you can. You might be better to do that if you just want to date a student.
I just wanted to say also, Striker, that for myself, just don't look at it as going to find a wife. Look at it as a vacation. There's lots to see in Ukraine. Lots of great food, lots of nice restaurants. I mean, if you look at it that way, you get a vacation out of it. It's not too bad of a deal. Yeah,
we're very strong on that, like that point that you've just made there. See, because a lot of guys, like, they get, and I was kind of the same too, which was really weird, because whenever I travel, I never travel to go and date women. I just travel to enjoy the food and enjoy the country. But here I didn't, and I think that's one of the reasons why I left and felt so empty about the whole thing. But we push that quite hard with the guys. Is that we say, what else are you interested in? They might be interested in war museums or some other cultural thing, skiing or something, and we try and like push them in that direction to do that as well. Because if you go home and you've dated a woman for 2 weeks and found out she was a scammer, man, that's pretty devastating to many guys. But if they've come and they've dated a woman, it didn't work out, oh well, you had a great holiday and time to try again. So yeah, so we see that as quite an important thing.
Because sorry, I was going to say part of it is the information gathering before they actually set off to Ukraine. And this is where I think both what you and Nuba are offering is so vital to the guys out there that are thinking about coming out there or perhaps had a bad experience, so they can just sit down with you so you can actually analyse where they've gone wrong, and it's just not, as you've just rightly said, it's not about the process before, during, but it's also the after. Are they going to come back? What was their experience like? Not everybody has a bad experience. And part of that is the analysing afterwards and having that sort of arm around them after the actual, once they've been to Ukraine, wherever that may be, to have that sort of support right the way through. So if it's not going right, they have got someone. I mean, this is, I think, why you set up Ukraine Fusion, so that the guys could plug into that. But now they've got that extra support of having both you very, very close to them, to give that support if things aren't going well during their stay in Ukraine.
Yeah, I mean, we always, like, when guys do have a bad experience, if you kept going like you two guys there, and even myself as well, like when you do get into like a relationship, you don't look at that bad time as a bad experience. It was just part of it. It got you started, So you look at it as almost like not necessarily a good experience, but part of the experience, But the guys that don't come back, they hate it. They just say how bad it was and what a waste of money. I'm upset, So it's and when you're saying like when they come back, it's about making sure that they're okay and coming up with another option for them if that one didn't work. And it might just be, because a lot of it comes down to luck. You know, like these agencies don't say it, but a lot of it comes down to luck. You know, it's like buying a lottery ticket. If you buy a lottery ticket, you got more of a chance of winning than if you don't buy one. And if you buy 6, you got a better chance. I look at it in that way. You know, like you can do things to make yourself more luckier than doing something else or not doing something else. So yeah.
For me, the only bad side of some you know, now of course we cover like all pros and cons of every way, because as Tarika mentioned, we don't say that something is really good or something is really bad. Everything has good and bad.
Well,
And
we do have one thing that's bad, and that's writing letters. So
yes.
Oh yeah. Stop.
They write letters.
Okay.
Stop, guys! Don't do it.
But we
Sorry,
hope
Linda.
that our guys don't do that anyway. So our subscribers are best, they're the smartest. But still, you know, I already mentioned that in our video. Unfortunately, the amount of letter writing right now is increasing because guys are sitting home, and I have like a couple of friends who are still working as interpreters. You know, I can't blame them for that because it's how they make money. But unfortunately, it's much more letters right now than even like 2 months ago. It means that guys just need to communicate with somebody, and this is sad. Like they just wasting their time, money, and most important, they waste their emotions because they have this fantasy that there's somebody who is waiting for them, and it's not, unfortunately, true.
Yeah. You go. Sorry.
Yeah. So as I said, like we don't really say that something is really good or bad, but it's very important to be aware of each way, like no matter what you're trying to do. But what I want to say that unfortunately some guys, they become so negative of their bad experience that they really become like really haters of Ukraine. And this is what really pissed me off, because Ukraine not deserve it. Like there's a lot of good women, and you guys know that better than me maybe, and you know, who have these family values, who have this like good attitude to men, caring about their men, and who will give all of them, you know, if they're with the right person. But unfortunately, guys start blaming Ukraine for having like these scammers and etc. But trust me, there's so much more legit girls than scammers if you know what to do and where to go.
Yeah, Luba, that also comes to what you and Strike are offering, doesn't it? From the point of view, if you've got the help and support, you'll immediately know what is a genuine lady and what isn't. You get, you know, and that is where it is invaluable. And that's what you're taught. That's what you'll be teaching the guys on your course, I presume.
In the course, yeah, we do. I mean, because like scamming, it's such a, it's not a huge part of like if you meet the right woman who's not a scammer, then the whole scamming section of you don't have to worry about scams because she's not gonna scam. But you got to get through the scammers. You know, scammers go where Western guys go, and they're very persuasive sometimes to latch onto a guy, and then the guy wastes all of his time. So actually, in the course, there's a whole section about how the scammers work, where they come from, they're recruited, the agencies, how they've been working for all of these years, and basically how you can avoid them. You know, so.
But you know what really upset me about that is that. Guys, you know, it's not really for me it's obvious because I've been working in this industry for 10 years, and for me it's obvious when I see the red flags on the girl. And I know like a lot of guys when we do a coaching calls, they say, oh, you know, she told me that she was late because she seen some shoes. And I said, did you go and buy it? She said, no. Like I know the psychology now of a man and a woman, so he was not even thinking about going and buying. And she, of course, because it was part of her plan, she was expecting that, you know, that he will want to achieve her heart, and she will say to buy him shoes, and then the next day her phone will be broken. So it's like an algorithm. It's like a formula of how these cameras are operating. And the interesting part and sad part for me, that I can't, like this was the piece that was missed for me. And when I met Striker, I finally understand. People in the West don't lie to each other that bad. That these scammers like get to guys, they can't expect and can't imagine that the girl can scam him so bad. Like they can't imagine that if she say that her grandmother is sick, that she is actually not sick, or she doesn't have even a grandmother. They can't imagine that if the girl is telling that, you know, she got robbed or she, you know, she lost her phone, that she's actually lying. Because we've been talking with one guy who like invest in his girl $27,000, and you know, like first of all, he said, I didn't know. I thought that I'm investing in my relationship, and this was something that was just shocking. Because for me, it was obvious that everything she said was a scam. And second, what upset me is that the company don't care. Like it's a big company, and this client is from there, but this like what they miss. They don't support them afterwards.
Was that 20,000? That was through letter writing, was it? Or was it gifts or something?
Gifts and like different stories and like supporting
okay.
family and situation. But support, I think that support is one of the most important thing that the guys should be looking when they even start thinking about coming to Ukraine.
You mean
Would you agree?
how much it would cost? Is that what you mean?
No, support. Like the guys need to find somebody who will like even like to start watching videos before you actually come to Ukraine, to be educated about how the system works. Should be your first step that you should do before you come to Ukraine, and learn about that and read about that. You can't just out of blue decide, oh, I decided to go and find a lady in Ukraine. It's not gonna work like that.
That's pretty much what I did, and here I am now on YouTube making videos about that.
But I agree with Luba there that you definitely need help. You need some support there. The language barrier is so bad for English-speaking people that you just need that person to set you up with an apartment or some dates, or you need some help in some way. Oh.
Yeah. When we put that into like the system, it was actually from my experience, and I went to one of these agencies. It wasn't a tour one; it was like an individual one, and I was supposed to have like a concierge type woman, and I was trying to call a taxi to go meet this date, which was a 10-minute drive away. It was stinking hot, and the Uber kept cancelling the thing, so I was running late. I didn't have the lady's number. I couldn't get hold of my translator or assistant to ring this person. I'm running late. It was and I'm like getting hot and sweaty, and this lady's waiting for me. Like, it was a nightmare, man. Like, it really ruined the date and my day just from me not being able to contact someone and say, hey, can you just like book me a taxi, or can you just get hold of someone, or just something, It was just even thinking about it now.
Okay, what else? What the guys need to watch out for? Like, what would you recommend? What they need to do before they...
I would say this, if I can, is a big problem, and guys always do it, and it's a lot of controversy about what you should actually do, and that is, should you date one woman when you're there, or should you date multiple women to try and figure out which woman is the right one, until you start to really see something in one and then stop. What did you guys do? Well, you didn't even get that far on your romance tour, did you?
For myself, I dated as many as I could just because I wanted options. Some of them I didn't know if I should. My translator sort of pushed me in one direction. But that was my goal, was to date as many as I could and have options after, and whittle it down to maybe 10. Yeah. And then from 10 to 5 to lower. Yeah. I'm not sure what Ian did. I think I know, but I'm not going to say.
Well, no, it was slightly different for me, because having sort of lived and worked in Ukraine, I was very much, trying to sort of find a connection, and on the two sort of socials that we had, there was literally no connection. So I didn't date any of the ladies that were actually on the tour. My attentions were elsewhere with the translators, that you're supposedly not supposed to go on dates with, but I think there were a number of guys on our tours that we sort of did, but out the way of the normal hubbub of the socials and things. So but that's how that. I mean, it was all going on behind the scenes,
and that's actually like that same sort of thing happened to me pretty much. Like I sort of did the same thing, and a lot of people say, well, you went there and there was 100 women there, and you're telling me that you didn't like any of them, and it's like, well, yeah, that's kind of what it is. I know it sounds unbelievable, right? Because when you go to Ukraine, if you stand on the street and you watch 100 women walk past, you see a lot of hot women in that 100 women that walk past. But for me, it just sort of didn't happen there. They were a lot older, or there was no connection. And I tried, like I was going on multiple dates with the same woman at times, and it was just, what am I supposed to do? Are you supposed to push it to happen? And that's the thing. Also, you got to remember when you go on these group tours, you're meeting 100 women, but you're not, because maybe 10 are in your age, depending on your age, of course. And then, so you've only got that small amount there. So you're paying 5, 6, 7 grand, whatever it costs for that particular tour. Whereas, wouldn't it be better to just go and date 5 women that like you and 5 women that you like? Wouldn't that sort of make more sense? And that's why I say, when you're starting at 0, if you come over with nothing, you're starting at negative. One of these things is 0. But if you're starting at a place where before you come over, You like her. You've had maybe some legit correspondence. She likes you. You know you're going to go meet 5 ladies that you like and that she likes you. That makes a lot more sense than meeting a bunch of random women that you have absolutely no idea who they are. You know, and that's the risk sometimes that comes with doing like those group tours. You know, so that's when you got to weigh up. You got to weigh
Striker,
up.
I'll say this. I know you had a video on this about falling in love with a younger woman, and if you have a realistic, your goals of what you're looking for, keep the age gap in mind. Try not to go beyond what you're thinking is okay, because when you get there, you're gonna find there's some really, really attractive younger ladies that will sway you, and you'll forget how you're thinking. So, if anyone, just remember that one little key is try to keep an age limit and work with that age limit, what you think is workable.
Yeah.
But that's where also your translator, like if you were working with Luba, for example, she would keep you very much on track and remind you where you should be going.
Punish you if you go.
Kicking some ass.
Yeah. Steady.
Over 10 years of my experience, like I had a lot of guys who were looking for younger ladies, and most of the time, just I have one couple that really the guy he said like he was macho. It's like it was giant age gap, and I was trying, and I was like, please, can we meet somebody older? And to be honest, like I seen it back then that with the younger lady, he said, Luba, I'm a Peter Pan, like I'm young in heart. And I said, darling, I understand all of you guys are very young in your heart. I understand. I have nothing to say about that. But with younger ladies, like we were doing the laser tag, like he was so active. With the older lady, it was kind of like with younger lady, he were trying to go up. With older lady, he was like, slowly walk, hand to hand, and it was like very slow. But he got married to a younger lady, and he got his first kid when he was 60. And everything were perfect when they were dating, and everything were good when they were together at the beginning, like first 2 years. She had a child, he was helping with the child, so everything was great. But I've been visiting them in US twice since like they got married, and I just seen this dramatic change, because the age gap is like still there, and now she's more mature lady, he is much older guy, and this not looks good. It's not looking nice. It's just like this something that I would never recommend to anybody if you respect yourself, first of all, because you need to think about future. You need to think about like what's gonna happen after all.
Well, there's big risk that comes with it, and you have to understand if somebody wants to take that risk, then that's up to them, like even when we talk to them and they say they're looking for this 20-year, 30-year age gap, we never say don't do it. We just say that, if that's what you want, go ahead and do that, but understand that it's going to be hard to find. It's going to be hard to maintain, and for the long run it's hard as well. But if people want to do it and they can make it work, so be it. But a lot of problems that can come from it. Something I was going to say was one thing that you have to understand is the dynamics between a man and a woman over in Ukraine is so different from the dynamics with a woman in the West. And a lot of people talk about this. They talk about like you got to be a man, you got to be decisive, you got to show that you can lead. And I think even as much as we say it, I still think it's downplayed when people hear it. Like the importance of it, of being able to get shit sorted for a lady to show her that you can take care of her. I reckon it's almost number one on the list, I think, because if you don't, if you line up a really good lady, you've dated her, you've done all that, well, you've got it to a point where she's going to get to know you, and you come across as a bit soft or a bit weak or, not really sure what's going on, she'll just bolt, I reckon. She'll just like say that it's just not, she wants a man who can be strong or whatever, So I think that is understanding that dynamic is key for having some success. That's what I think. What do you guys think?
I think it was what I said at the beginning, Striker, when I said about culture.
Yeah.
You have to respect, you're going into a totally different culture coming into Ukraine, and you have to respect that. You're talking a generation coming right the way down. And you made a very good point in terms of, the lady will always expect you to lead, or there's certain situations where they will expect you to take command. I mean, I was away 2 or 3 years ago with my lady. We come back from skiing, and suddenly all the planes were cancelled, all the rest of it. We had her son with us, she expected me to immediately step in there and say, right, this is what we're going to do, darling. I'm going to get us into a hotel and just literally take command of the situation. Obviously, in the West, you would normally sit down and talk about it. They don't expect that, the ladies, do they, Luba? They expect you to come in and, right, this is what we're going to do.
I'm a Superman.
Yeah, absolutely. That is what they expect. You know, they expect you to...
I was just going to say... Oh, sorry, Luby.
No.
Oh, well, what I was going to say is that, like, even though that may seem a little bit like daunting or intimidating or something like that, especially if you've been in a Western relationship for years like I was, where it was always a constant battle to get anything done, you know, without getting, you know, like anything you suggest, it was a no, and then you have to back down. Where it's the exact opposite over there. Every little opportunity that comes up, and whether it's taking her out on a date, or whether you're in a car that breaks down, or she slips over, or she's got a cough and she needs a drink of water, all of these things, you can look at them as like a test. You should always be looking for these little tests so that you can continually pass these tests when you're out on a date with her. Just to get that little brownie point in her mind. She's, oh, that's one for him, it's another one for him, and you know, it's all these little things that's going to go in your favor, you know.
You know, we have a saying here. It's very sad. Just you will keep saying, but like we do say that the man should be a little bit more attractive than a monkey. It's Ukrainian saying. Maybe I should say it in a different video and about But I just before, like, I know what striker you're talking about. And the guy is looking with his eyes, like he's looking for some hot lady, you know, with long hair, with like this and that, like this amount of characteristics. When the girls are really looking for certain feelings that she would have next to her man. And if the guy can build like this, what Striker just mentioned, then the lady would be just attracted. And for her, it doesn't matter. Like, you don't have to worry about, like, of course, you should be in shape. You should take care of yourself. And first of all, you do it for yourself. You know, you're losing weight for yourself, not for your lady. You're shaving for yourself, not for the lady. You should, like, do this stuff for yourself. And if you do this, like, we call it act of services for the lady, then you're going to win her heart. And you need to know that.
Yeah, I also know a saying that the man is the head and the woman is the neck. Is that right, Luba?
Yes, here they say that. And also we have a saying that behind every successful man, there is a woman, you know.
Probably
and Ukrainian woman, of course. And you know, I will quickly give you an example of that. I have a couple when the guy came to Ukraine. He was very rich, and unfortunately he got bankrupt because of, like, his mother, she didn't pay tax. So he was like, it's a long story, but anyway, he lost everything, and he was in a very bad relationship with his family. And his father, like, owned a big factory. He had another two brothers that was very close to father, but when the father died, he was supposed to get the legacy, like part of this factory, and he lost all money because of his mom. And then he said, no, like, there's no way that I'm gonna do anything with my brothers. They're like, I don't like them, and like, that's all. Ukrainian lady said, no, darling, you will. And honestly, just because of your pressure, because of your belief in him and, like, your support, he actually became a leader of this factory, because these brothers, they were always behind the father. They didn't know anything about, like, how to deal with things and etc. And so he become owner of this factory, and now, like, he lives in a, like, millions house and etc. And just because the lady was behind him and she was supporting him and pushing him to do something and motivate, like, I would say.
Yeah, cool.
Also, they do worry about you a lot. I think me and Ian talked about this. They do almost become like mothering. If you get sick, well, look out. She will take care of you, yes. Get you all the medicine you need, and any little cough. It's surprising how much they do care about us.
You see, I think that also that comes, there's a certain age where that's a cutoff. If you're dating a woman who is like 22, I don't think she's going to be doing that. I think it's a different generation.
No, she will be your child.
Yeah. So, and because a lot of guys, they try and date like these, like 22, 23 years, which are usually, like, you know, just kind of fake stuff anyway. But even if they did manage to date one of those, you're not going to get this traditional woman. Like, these other women that we probably more the age group that we sort of date, they didn't grow up with this Instagram. They grew up in USSR. You know, they had to mend their own clothes. They had to cook their own food. There's a different mentality. But now it's like, you know, it's life's a little bit easier, I suppose, and a little bit more glamorous. Well, appears to be more glamorous on Instagram. So all those guys out there that are trying to date like the 22, 23-year-olds, I think you just wait. In fact, I don't know anyone on this whole time I've been like talking to guys. I don't know anyone that started a relationship with a woman that was under probably 27, I think. Something like that. That started a relationship. Yeah, I mean, I know many guys that have been on dates with women that were like 22, 23, 24.
No, it never worked, honestly. It's never. And every time I do the call, and the guy, even in his 30, and I said, what age you looking for? And of course, if he's 30, if he's already has a career and he's successful, he can looking for the lady in her 20s. But what's the point? If he's successful, like businessman, and or like we've been talking that the day with a guy, he's a policeman, like he's already a solid person with his life understanding, and he don't want to have a kid. He wants to have a lady, he wants to have a partner, he wants to have somebody who supports him. And that's why I would recommend, and like to any guy, to date a lady after 26, like 25, 26, because before she's just all about herself, and she is not really in rush to get married, to be honest. Like, if it is not like a super passion love, and like the lady is not like, if you really want to get married, before that she's just, she's happy to date you, she's happy to travel, to accept your gifts, but not that serious. She may get married with a local man, and I think we did it in like one of the videos we discussed it, that she might, because when they've been together at school and they've been like friends for a long time and then they got married, of course, because the previous generation, the generation of my parents, for example, they all got married in like start from 18, 19, 20. Next generation, they start getting married already like 21, 22, 23. Because in USSR, if you're not married by 25, they call it like old woman, old lady. They call it like, so it means that what's something wrong with you? Like nobody wants you. So before it was like almost a sin. It's so bad if you not got married before 25. Nowadays, there's no regulation. Like nobody really getting married before that. If she's not pregnant or she's like.
I have a theory about that, and I reckon it's because the Ukrainian woman, like they had to make a decision, like, they like go to work or they have a family. That was kind of how it was, 20 years ago. And getting married and having a kid meant one of two things. One, she didn't have to go and work. And the other one, it was like a rite of passage for her. So she wanted to get to that rite of passage as soon as possible, which was to get married, have a kid, and then sort of be this, mother and wife. Now, because there's like universities, they can go and study and be a doctor, they can do whatever they want, they can travel. There's no real rush to get to the rite of passage. It's not even a rite of passage anymore. The rite of passage now may be doing 6 years at medical school and becoming a doctor. But I think that's just my theory anyway. Please feel free to ignore it if you don't agree. But I don't know. But they're definitely not in any rush to get married at the age of 20, that's for sure.
Yeah. No, before it was like it was customary, it was customary to get married and to have family and like live a life, no matter how is your relationship, because you can't divorce. In USSR, they would like really look at you. You may lose your position if you divorce. You may lose your job. They will, the director of your company will tell you out of getting divorced. So they were completely in your life. They say that there was no sex in USSR because like it was like, to talk about that, it was like, even to say this word, it was like big no-no. When
can I just put this? I just want to address this comment. Captain Cisco says these younger girls don't sound much different from American women. He's kind of onto something there a little bit. I mean, because they sort of follow like the American sort of like pop culture and Instagram and all that sort of stuff. But that's the very younger woman. But in 5 years' time, those younger women are going to be getting a little bit older. The difference is that in America and Ukraine, there's a different environment that they're in. So in America, they're growing up with this whole, and I hate to say it, it's not really a video about that, but like they have this like a system that's built around them that protects them and can make them earn money. If they marry a rich man, they become rich, that sort of thing. Ukrainian girls don't have that. So they are similar in the sense that, they want to take selfies and get their lips done and all that sort of stuff. But I still don't believe that they have that mentality of like trying to use a guy to get rich, if that makes sense.
You know why it happened? Because before people didn't get anything. And, even my mom, like I've been attending all possible and impossible after school activities. Like I started learning English since 3. Then I was playing piano. Then I was going to theater school, singing, dancing, jumping, whatever. Like I was doing absolutely everything because she didn't have a chance for that. She didn't have either opportunity for that or money. Like her parents can't afford it, and she was like a late child, we call it. So she has a difference with her brother, like 16 years, and so they can't. So she invests all that in me, and these like children, unfortunately, like parents now are spoiling the kids all over the world, I think. And so this caused kind of a problems with the ladies, that they become so narcissistic. I don't know why the guy messaged like twice that in USSR were narcissistic ladies. Like I really don't see a point in that at all, because ladies were like nowadays nobody give a child to the daycare since like couple of months. They try to stay home. You can stay home for 3 years and you really try to stay with your child. When in USSR, she must go to work because the budget was limited. He has to make money, she has to make money. They has to like have this money together, and she was giving child to the daycare since like couple of months.
The notion that a certain culture is very narcissistic or is more narcissistic than the other. I mean, personality disorders, are in every country. You could argue that maybe the trauma of like, USSR or something like that, maybe brought on some sort of personality disorder there. But I mean, there are narcissistic women with personality disorders in all countries, every single country, that you have to watch out for. And if you get stuck with one, you could easily say, well, that one that they're all like that. It's the same as scammers, I suppose. You're stuck with 2 scammers, they're all scammers. 2 women that are nutcases, they're all nutcases. So I wouldn't worry too much about that, but I do recommend reading The Tactical Guide to Women and The Rational Male, and you will never get stuck with a narcissist.
I have a question to Ian.
Sorry, Luba. I was just picking up on a very good question that Daniel Allen has just posted up, which I think is really good. When will the man usually be introduced to her family? Do you want to come back on that, Luba? Because I think that's quite a good.
Sure. Go ahead.
And is it covered in your course again? I assume it is. Go on.
Okay, we will. No, just like let's answer about family, because my question is more about and you can think about that while I have a speech. It's like what you don't like about Ukrainian ladies, like what you think, and we're not talking about scammers, or maybe what you don't like about Ukraine in general. Or maybe like what is like completely, if you like everything, that I hope, that what is like very different from your country, and what you wish Ukrainian lady would have, and like you want her to have when she moved to your country. About when the man should be introduced to your family, really it depends, because if the guy meet the lady on the first trip and they spend like couple of dates, right, 3, 4, 5, whatever, however, like how long it can take. So to expect her to introduce to the family, it's not going to happen, honestly, because people in Ukraine, when they date, like local people, they may not introduce to each other like in a year time, because they just dating, they don't know what's going to happen. Of course, with the relationship with a Western guy, everything is much faster. You need to rush, because the guy's leaving, he lives far, like the next time he's going to come, it's the next, like, so it's a little bit in a different dynamic, like the relationship's going. But still, to expect her to introduce you in the first trip, it's not the right thing. Maybe on a second trip, it depends how much you communicate, on which stage you left, like are you close to each other, like did you have an intimacy, and all this kind of like little bits that are coming together that make you feel very close to each other. And then on second trip, when you come and you spend even more time and you really feel, both of you, that it is serious, then they're going to be introduction. It can be an exception because some girls are very close to their mom. And so for her, it's not a problem to introduce you, like to go somewhere out with your mom. And of course, you will buy a gift for your mom, so she will always be happy for that. So some girls are even using that for like, to make their mom happy. Somebody said that recently, or I read something, don't try to buy your parents. Like, don't try to, be too nice. Be yourself. You are in relationship with their daughter, not with them. So you have to really don't try to be better than you are, or try to have better sense of humor for that one evening for some reason, So just be yourself. And so there is no dramatic problem if you not meet the parents, of course, on the first trip. And second, it depends. If the lady see that you're gonna like marry, or you're gonna be in a serious relationship, then of course you're gonna introduce. But if she feel that you're not moving forward, you don't have a very serious intention, or maybe she is not sure, like, are you just coming to have fun, or you actually want to get married, then you can discuss it. I think that the best advice that I can give in all times in any kind of relationship is to talk to each other. And this relationship, like, no matter, is it a friendship, is it a partnership, is it a married couple, you need to talk, because we have opportunity to speak with each other for some reason, and we need to use it. So don't like be mad at each other. And no matter in what, like maybe in relationship, like as I said, in a friendship, maybe you don't like something in sex, maybe you don't like something in a daily routine, you have to discuss that, and it will really help and solve all your problems.
Yeah, it's a real kind of gray area meeting the parents. I mean, with my two girlfriends, I met them like within about 2 weeks. One was a brief meeting, the other one was like a proper kind of meeting. But you don't know what her relation. I didn't meet the father of one because she didn't have a very good relationship with him, so it was going to be hard to sort of set that up. So you don't. So just because you haven't met her parents, you don't know what's going on between her and her parents. There might be some trouble in the family, or someone might be sick, and there might be something there. So we never really use that as any kind of red flag or green flag or anything like that. I mean, obviously, if you've met the parents and you've gone out for dinner, obviously it's a bonus, but don't put too much weight on it if it's not happening on the first trip or second trip or whatever.
And if it bothers you, you just have to ask her. You just should say, I would like to meet your parents and see what she gonna tell you. Like, she would say, I'm not ready, or she would say, I don't want, or you will just read it. It's a good indicator as well, because if she's like, maybe she's not serious about you, maybe it is also can be an indicator for that. So
I had a situation where her and her father came to pick me up in Odessa at the airport, and I wasn't sure if I should offer him money for gasoline. I asked her the question, should I give your father some money for some gas? And she said, well, let's not give him anything right now. We'll go out for supper, and maybe you can pay for the meal.
Yeah.
We did go out for dinner, and her father he wanted to split the bill with me. So I said that was fine. I offered to pay for it, but I didn't want to overstep my boundary and offend him. So I just agreed, and that was the way it went. So
yeah, you don't know how they're gonna take it. Sorry, Libba.
No, it's very good. Go ahead.
Oh, you don't know what I'm gonna say, but you just know.
No, I said to Darren. I said to Darren, very good, not to you.
Yeah, because you don't know how they're gonna take it. Because I remember one of my girlfriends, she. Her father wasn't working because he was injured or something like that. And when I left, I had money in my wallet, and I tried to give it to her to give to her parents. It wasn't much, like $100 or something like that. And then she took the money, but she never gave it to the parents. She told me later on. I said, "Why didn't you give it to your parents?" Like she says, "I can't give them your money. Like, do you understand how disrespectful it is for some guy that they don't know to give them money for food?" And it made sense, I was trying to do a nice thing, but it would come across as like, like not good. So you just don't know. You just have to kind of be mindful of everything, don't you? Eyes are always open, and don't get offended by things, and just, just try and work your way through it.
Be aware you're coming into another culture. Understand that. Understand the culture. Understand the support that you need. It's invaluable. It really, really is.
Yeah. Number one up there, I reckon. Understand that it's a different dynamic, different culture. If you don't get it, you will make a big mistake, and you'll screw up a relationship that you maybe wanted to go forward. And if you don't have other options, that's why we say don't get one-itis. Date multiple women and have multiple options.
And also, don't be stressed. Like, if you meet your parents, don't be stressed. They stress as well. So it's okay to be confused. It's okay to make mistakes. As soon as you have the best intentions in your heart, then everything gonna work out. And as I said, like the most important, not trying to buy them, not trying to show that you are richer than you are and that you like will spoil their daughter. No, just be yourself and show how it will be. Of course, give the compliment, of course, and we do cover that in a course. Like we discussed that, like what, like how and what.
I brought some gifts from Canada when I came. I bought her father some whiskey from Canada and her mother some perfume and some makeup, and he actually got me a couple of bottles of vodka, so it was a good trade.
Yeah,
we were both happy. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's good. If you get in well with the old man, you're away, right?
It was working well until Darren decided to ring us about 2:00 in the morning. Slightly the worse aware for alcohol,
Well, I've never experienced, but we went to this restaurant and the bottle I gave him, he actually went and got glasses from the bar and he started pouring it right in front of everyone. I've never seen that, and nobody said anything. It was crazy.
Do you reckon he had an underlying like plan there, like to get you drunk and see how you would act, and then
they drink everything straight, which is I can't do it that way. No, it's too much for me.
Yeah.
People here, like, they're really very proud, and even like Striker always make fun of our cuisine, that it is very simple, and then we cook like from some water and flour. But honestly, like I remember my grandma, like I adore cooking, and it came from my grandmother because she was always making something so delicious from so simple goods. And the same is like with this drinking. So people don't have much, but they want, like, we have a big heart, we have a big soul, and if they really want to share. Like, and if they have only vodka, then it's what they're gonna share with you. If they would have like Hennessy, they would, share with you Hennessy. But they always try to show their best, and like the guys will, like, I have we have a very strange fishing in Ukraine. It's really like tiny fish. You sit there, you wait for hours and hours. Guy didn't really want to go, but her father was so excited about that. He took them fishing. The guy got like sunburn, like he was like beaten by the mosquitoes, but it put them close together very much. So
I was just going to say just a question that's come out here, which is quite a good one. Michael was asking, will a Ukrainian lady date a guy who's like a teetotal? Well, I can answer that because I've always been a teetotal. So I've dated a number of Ukrainian ladies and I don't drink alcohol. And there's never been any issue at all, even when I've been at family gatherings and you've got the vodka, you say the vodka flowing, and it's a very, very nice occasion. So, in answer to your question, you will along this and open. And if you don't drink alcohol, I've never had a problem with that. Have you found that, Luba, with any of your clients that don't drink alcohol?
Most of the guys are not drinking, to be honest, and even like we had this battle with Striker. He wants to do a video about beer, and I said, like, some guys, they just don't drink, and some of them do, some of them don't, most of the guys, honestly, most of the Western guys, they don't drink at all. Some of them start drinking. They say, maybe they will drink some beer because they say that they're on vacation. Most of the guys with whom I work right now, they're serious guys. They have a very serious profession. They can't drink. Like, either they're lawyers that they do some tests or something, so they don't really drink, and it's not an issue. The ladies, like, most of the time she's not gonna sit and drink like vodka. She may order some wine, and if the guy is against that, like he doesn't want his lady to drink at all, this can be a little bit like uncomfortable for like some ladies. You need to find a certain lady who is not drinking. But if you're okay and she will not push you, oh no, you have to drink with me. No, everybody need to be comfortable. And again, you need to discuss that. You need to say, darling, you're welcome to drink, like, wine, whatever. I want to drink.
If anything, I would say they prefer you not to drink too much.
Yeah.
They don't like the drunks. No,
absolutely.
Yeah. I would agree. They all seem to have something in their life, some trauma from their past. Their father drunk, their brother drunk, something like that. And I with my first girlfriend, she wouldn't like it if I drank. Like, she drank and we drank together, but then sometimes she would just not like it because her brother drunk so much. He was like in a hospital, and drunk way too much, like straight alcohol, and got a bit kind of messed up. And so she associates alcohol with that. She doesn't want that to happen. Whereas I'm from New Zealand, and New Zealand, we go around to a friend's house on a Sunday and drink 3 beers and eat some food, and it's not a culture. It's just kind of what you do. So that's that difference in culture again. You have to
It is.
understand.
It is a huge. Even I need to get used that striker can drink beer and it's fine. And it's not like you're not gonna get drunk or whatever. Like it's okay because like in Ukraine, unfortunately, especially in the villages, like people they don't have much things to do. And what they do, they work out at the plant in the fields in the garden, and then when they come home in the evening, there's nothing to do. They're not gonna sit and read books, so they start drinking, and they do this homemade vodka that is extremely strong. And in the village, like almost every guy is an alcoholic. Like really, I don't know, however you want to call it. Like somebody call alcoholism like it's when you just not drinking, and then you all of a sudden become like so drunk, and then for a couple of days you stay home. But for the ladies, it's and like for the ladies especially who've seen that when they were a child, it's a very painful. Like they're really scared of that because they seem that the guys are not like some guys become funny when they drink. Some guys become aggressive, and it's what happened with Ukrainian guys. So because of that, Ukrainian lady really prefer her man not to drink, and this is something that scares her when she see that the guy is drinking. She worried that how better he is from another one. But again, there are some ladies who like to go out, and we're talking about drinking not like every day, getting drunk, but when you go out and they don't mind. But you need to match in everything. You need to match in age, you need to match in look, you need to match in your interest, and match in your like common things.
I think also, Lou, what I found with my lady, because she had a son, she didn't want me drinking in front of the son or smoking. I mean, that also seems a big no-no. For me, I don't smoke and I don't drink, so it was absolutely perfect. But she made it very, very clear that she would not tolerate. And it doesn't just seem her; it seems a number of Ukrainian ladies who have children don't want their people drinking or smoking in front of them.
About smoking, of course, like honestly, like guys, I don't know, like how people smoke. Like, would you ever want to kiss somebody who like it's like you smoke, like you're kissing the smoking vibe? I don't know. Like nowadays, it's not even like before. It was like, cool, you stay, you smoke, like especially, but still in Ukraine, unfortunately, there's like striker always make fun of that. There's a lot of ladies and a lot of guys. They work at the office. They also like they're bored. They don't have much work, and all they do all day long, like especially hairdressers. Not after the quarantine. After quarantine, they will all be very busy, the hairdressers. But they just go out and they smoke all day long. So you just need to find person who match. Guys, I see a lot of comments about black guys, and I think that we will do the. Will we have a video? Yes.
We have a video. We'll put it out. We'll put it out this week. I'll put it on like Tuesday or something. It's ready to go. So hopefully it'll help you guys a little bit out there.
And I got like, I don't know, like why now, but like honestly, today I got like 2 private messages from the guys like who sent me videos from another companies who did a review about the black guys. I want to say here and now that everybody like has a right for it to be successful, happy, and find their partner and match. And all you need to know is what to do, where to go, and get a very strict plan. Because I can't say that you will not be successful. Like one of the companies did a video that you can't be successful in Ukraine if you're a black guy. It's not true. And to say that you will be 100% successful, I also can't say. But you need to understand that, for example, you shouldn't go to like bigger city if you are from a small city. There's certain amount of rules that you have to follow. And if you follow them, of course you can be successful. But any guy like Darren, Ian, like everybody, they can be successful and they may not be. Like it doesn't matter. It not matter like what is your ethnicity, but like some black guys, they just want to like the toppest guy, 10 out of 5, like the toppest, like, and etc. And of course it's not going to happen, but it's not going to happen not just with black guys. It's not going to happen with anybody.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of factors to take in, and it's almost.
And if you want to discuss that, honestly, it's not that I'm like trying to sell my coaching calls. I have plenty of them. But I really wish to spend that hour with you and just find out who you are, where are you from, what you do, what you expect from Ukraine, what kind of lady you're looking for. Do you want her to work? Do you want the lady with a kid? There's like 100 questions that I can ask you, and only after that I will be able to give you the full advice. Yes, you should come to Ukraine. You should go to this city. You should go to that. Should go to this agency, and you will be successful. Or I would say, dear, I'm sorry, but there's no chance for you to actually find one, because you have to change your expectation. Either you have to change your views on dating in Ukraine, or like unfortunately not going to work for you. And every case should be looked at individually. And it's not just for the black guys or Indian guys or Asian guys. It should be for everybody. Everybody, like the only individual matchmaking and individual touch, as I call it, will work out for the guys. Don't go like, when you, it's like at school, I don't know, maybe it's not a good example according to the Western education, but like even when you go to the group, right, like maybe teacher not like really spend time enough to teach you Russian. It's much better to do a private tutor, right? Like it will be more efficient if you do it personally and privately. When the teacher understands that here you're reading better, but you're writing slow, so let's spend time on writing. Same in matchmaking, same in dating. You have to have a person who is responsible about you and who navigate you and who give you information.
Cool.
Well,
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you guys reckon? Anything else? Any final words?
The one thing I'd like to ask Luba is that I find my lady is very health conscious about getting sick. Her son, very, even like sports, she's really holds back about putting him into sports because he may get hurt. Maybe it's partially the healthcare system in Ukraine. Maybe that's part of it.
She's a single mom, obviously, right? And I don't know how big of a part her husband is taking in this child life. And every single lady would be so cautious, unfortunately. And I have a client who is a hockey player, and when he told me about his childhood, he has like 4 brothers, and I said, like, how your mom, like, honestly, you have so many surgeries and like insurance and etc. He said, no, she was just like, my father told that we will play hockey, and we went. Unfortunately, with your lady, there is nobody who is actually telling like that, and maybe it will not be your place till certain time, because she would say that it may cause a problem between you. She would say that you are not a father and know better, and of course something will happen with the kid. Of course he will either like every kid will do that, like will broke a leg or something. She will blame you. So maybe for you
Darren.
It's better to know. I
said to Darren, it's doghouse time. Basically, it really will be. But I think the thing is, what I found is that the Ukrainian mums with their sons, they are very, very protective. I mean, I was a single dad for 20 years, and I think Darren is the same, where we bring our boys up so that they can stand on their own 2 feet. Right. Ukrainian mums are what we would consider well overprotective, and they would.
I would agree. Yeah, totally right.
Because she understands that if something happened to him, she needs to take care of him, nobody else. And like you guys are more like, you have maybe this gene like of more adrenaline, and you think, it's a boy, it's okay, it will heal. But she understands that she's a single mom. She will need to spend money on that. She will not be able to go to work. She will be like, she will have to stay with her kid. She doesn't know, like, will he, like, there's so, it's like, it's the women's psychology. I'm not saying that it is good. Honestly, it's not good, but nothing you can change. And like maybe slightly you need to like do it. If you're with your lady when she moved to you, or whatever, maybe you start of doing something together, and you start from something not very extreme. And then when the child will be in a and you have to show him videos, you have to like watch with him, so she will see that you have to be smarter, you have to be more tricky with that. You have to show that you have to watch with him soccer, football, I don't know, baseball, whatever, boxing. And then he needs to love it, and he say, Mom, I want to go. In certain age, the boy would say, Mom, I want to do it. And there's nothing that she would be able to tell. So you, in the relationship with your son, you should be the one who will show, because definitely she's not going to sit with him and not will watch boxing, right? But you will be the one, you will have some quality time together. She will be happy. She will not get it as a like, he's showing my son boxing. No, she will see that you spend time together, and slightly you will just move the boy into the direction of what kind of sport you want him to play. It's the only way how you can do it. Because if you're going to tell her, you need to tell, like, he needs to be more sporty, he needs to do that, she will be just very defensive. Like, she will not be okay with that, and you will be not okay as well. And as Ian mentioned, you're going to sleep where?
No, you're in the doghouse. So yeah,
we've all been there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. That's an interesting explanation, Luba. Thank you for that. That's
Yeah,
good.
really good.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, guys. Well, hopefully you guys out there enjoyed that. I just thought it would be interesting to hear from some guys that have actually gone and done it and that are in relationships, and they've been in long, not just 1 month after a romance tour, to give you guys some insight into what's actually going on out there that's not all covered in rainbows and unicorns.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just like to make a conclusion of our talk, what we discussed is that, first of all, be realistic, like we repeated almost in every video, like be realistic about the age gap, about your expectation, about the city where you're going, and like travel and date together, like dating and looking for some sites to see. Come to Ukraine, not just to dating, have some fun, enjoy some culture, history, or whatever is interesting for you. Be prepared, learn some Russian before you come, and learn some information in general about Ukraine and about dating before you are going out.
Good advice.
Yeah, do you have a cup with you?
Sorry?
Do you have a cup?
A cup? No.
No? Okay, because we have something and we can do cheers at the end, like in Ukrainian time. Budma.
Yeah.
Budma, yeah.
Budma.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, guys.
Guys, thank you very much. Thank you. It was very nice to talk to you.
Yeah, it was wonderful. Thanks a lot.
That was
Nice.
great. If you
Please,
guys ever-
everybody there, stay safe and healthy.
Cool. And if you guys want to know any more about talking to Luba, just check out the website and you can book a call on there.
And happy Easter! Tomorrow is Easter in the West, so happy Easter,
yeah,
everybody!
right.
And
She remembered. Well done, Luba. She remembered.
There you go.
Fantastic.
Cool.
in Ukraine, Easter is like in a week. It's next Sunday, but for you guys, like, let us know how it is there.
It'll be a quiet Easter.
Yeah.
I hope all of you will get some chocolate eggs and just this year will be like this, but next year will be better. Just stay positive and everything gonna be okay.
Luba and
We'll
Striker,
see you next time.
Yeah, Luba and Striker, we'll come back on again because there were a number of questions that we didn't get a chance to actually answer with the questions were being put to me and Darren. So we'll try and come back on with you in the very near future, and we'll try and answer some of these questions, because we're very happy to, both Darren and I are very happy to help anybody that's coming over to Ukraine with you guys as well. So if they want to come through you and we can help, or we'll come back online next week or the week after.
Yeah,
that sounds great. I mean,
thanks for tuning in, guys. It's been really good.
Cool.
And if you want to join our cooking pelmeni, you're welcome. We don't know yet if we're gonna do that, but Striker really wants.
Cooking show.
So I will have a master class.
Oh no,
that would be wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay, guys.
Okay, guys,
We'll see you
have a
later.
good day. Bye bye.
Go careful, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Go safe.
Thank you.